I didn't believe until after I retired. I retired in 2022, been retired a little over 2 years now. And these are 4 things that I knew, I just didn't believe. I'd seen videos on it. I'd heard people talk about it. I know people who've retired. But until we actually experience these things, I honestly didn't believe these. The first one is how much stress I was under. I'm one of those guys that didn't think I was ever going to retire. I actually used to say, I don't think I'll retire early. I'm probably never going to retire late. I ended up retiring at 52 after 12 years of investing. I was demoted all the way down to the president of the company that I worked at. I controlled my schedule. I was the president of the Northwest Career Colleges Federation. I was in a position where I believe when you listen to most entrepreneurs, they say, learn a skill so well that you can teach it so that you can hire somebody to do it. So in my job, everything that I didn't want to do, I hired and trained people to do so I wouldn't have to do it. I had what I would have designed my entire life around what I would have called the perfect job. And I retired in 2022. So 2 years now, I feel 20 years younger, right? I didn't understand the mountain of stress that comes from, I ran a CDL school. So what is it in your job that it has a time, a date related to it? With us, we started with 1 campus with 6 staff. I grew it to 5 campuses with 60 staff. So my job was to make sure there was enough students to keep the staff busy. There was enough students to graduate to satisfy the need of the companies that needed drivers. It was my job to make sure the owners of the company made money. It was my job to make sure that we can raise the compensation level of the employees to keep happy employees. Happy employees work better, right? You can't make somebody do their best job, but you can make somebody want to do a better job. And so the level of every Monday, a new class started at some campus. And my job was to coordinate everything that it takes to make that class happen. And then I retire. And it's like going on summer break between, 9th and 10th and 11th grade, where you have those few months off. But this is like a life sentence of not having to return and not having a quota to meet and not having expectations from state agencies, employers, co-workers. Everybody that you work with is relying on you to do your job so they can have their job. And I don't think you or I believe how much stress you're under when you say something stupid like I used to do. I used to say, and I know dumb people say, I love my job so much I would do it for free. I wasn't that dumb. I would say the stupid thing of, I love this job so much, I wouldn't do it for free, but it's the only job I would do for money, until I retired and walked away from $2 million in golden handcuffs. The second thing, I hear this often, and I just didn't understand it until I was experiencing it. I'm experiencing it now. How many times have you heard somebody retire, or somebody on YouTube University, somebody like me, some random guy on YouTube, that says, when you retire, when you make work optional, when you have assets that pay for your life instead of having to sell your life 1 hour at a time to pay for your life, you will wonder how you had time to work. And I used to hear that and I was like, oh, that's just something that rich people say to keep poor people happy. Like something poor people say to keep poor people happy is money is the root of all evil. Or if you're successful, somebody else had to fail, or whatever excuse people have for staying poor. If you think that you don't know if you want to retire because you're not sure what you would do with your time, you might have an education curve in front of you. The idea that we wouldn't know what to do with our time comes from being so overwhelmed from your job, that stress that you're under that you don't know that you're experiencing, that when you do get off, you're so tired that all you can do is stare at a screen. Maybe you're a gamer. Maybe you watch the sports ball. Maybe you have TV shows. You look forward to the next episode coming out so that it can add a little bit of thought into your life, because outside of the workplace, you're just wiped out. Remove the wiped out part. There is so much to do. Now, yes, if you retire super frugally, there's only so many free things you can do. But if you make work optional by acquiring assets that pays for the life that you want to live, where you have the funding, the money, the ability to do all of the things you want to, you will, and I didn't believe this until I retired. I have no clue how I used to work. Like, to find the goal of 10 to 20 minutes to make a live video for YouTube, I had to look at this entire day and go, okay, when is this going to fit? 20 minutes. I used to fit 10 hours, 6 days a week. Like, eesh. The third thing, this one almost bothered me. Chester, the power of the math of time. Most people can only think linearly, and therefore they sadly cannot appreciate the power of compounding returns. I love it. Thank you for the super chat. It's much appreciated. It also proves that this was happening live stream, and this isn't some edited video that somebody put a bunch of thoughts together in. This is top of mind awareness. What somebody with a bad memory can put together a list of, these are the things I didn't believe. I knew, but I didn't believe until I retired. The third one, your friends, your coworkers, your work family. How many work wives did I have that knew about each other? Is not your friend. It's not your group. It's not your circle. It's not your family. If you or people have to be compensated to be together, that is not a friendship. Trying to grow it into a friendship is making the best of the situation you're stuck in. I knew that before retiring, but now that I've retired, I've learned, and this is what I know. This is how I now know, since retiring, that your friends and your coworkers aren't your work family, aren't your friends. They're just people you're forced to be around, that you do try to make the best of it with by saying you're friends. Your coworkers that you retired from don't want to talk to you. You become worse than a stranger. You were working for a company, an agency, an entrepreneur, yourself, hired people, whatever it is, and the job you had has a mission. Deliver the things, protect the things, make the things, sell the things, train the people, whatever it is. You have a cohesive mission. You probably have a company mission statement, which should be 25 words or less, and clearly describe a situation where every employee can look at the mission statement and think, every decision I make, as long as it supports the mission statement, will probably not cost me my job. You made the logical choice of working to save money, to put money to work, so that you don't have to, so that you can leave that job. You, with your actions which speak louder than words, told your work family what they do and what you used to do wasn't enough for you. That there's more to life than the mission statement of the company that you're at. So if your work family were to meet somebody new, they would go the normal human interaction. What do you do? What do I do? Let's share. Let's get to know each other. They can do that with a stranger without the sense of judgment. But when they interact with you, the person who retired from the job you used to do, you've told them that wasn't good enough. They actually don't want to interact with you. So initially, it would bother me that, I had friends and coworkers from decades that I had known, hired to work at the company as I got demoted into those management positions, that I never talked to. Texted maybe twice since retiring. It would bother me if I didn't find the Chesters of the world, and the Franks of the world, and the Matts and the Mikes and the Zubers, and the people that are doing what I wanted to do, that are still doing it. And even once you retire, you're still doing this. You still have reached financial freedom. You've still made work optional by putting your money to work so you don't have to. So it's not that I lost a work family. It's that I changed the work family. The fourth thing, this one actually, I don't have the words to say this one. So I'll be wrapping the video up with this, and we'll see if I can even come close to saying this, is I knew this before retiring, but I didn't believe it. Or I would have done it. I would have retired sooner. You would have retired. So you would have went to work on this decades sooner than what you did. If you knew this, you know it now, you don't believe it. I didn't believe it. Before retiring, I I knew that life would be better. Like I said, I warned you in advance. I don't have the words to do this. I'm not this articulate. I've had time off. Well, I had jobs when I had time out of school, but I was out of school. I've had weekends off. I've had days off. I've had some times where I've had days off where I don't have to take care of all the things I couldn't get done during the week. But I've never had all of the time off, the money to do the things I want to do, the ability to do anything, go anywhere, travel, spend the time with the people I want to, not the people I'm compensated to. I knew life would be better. I now believe life is so much better than what I thought it could be. I don't have the words to say this right. The problem is, right now, if you're like me and you were working and you have those weekends or that day off or that vacation and you cram the things in there that you want to do, you're doing that when you're wiped out, when you are flat out exhausted, right? Most people get 5 hours a day. You commute to work, you come home, you've got laundry, workout, cleaning, whatever there is around your house, buying a tree, putting up a tree, wrapping presents. They're not all just guns for me. Not all of them. I'm going to wait till Christmas to open them. But this financial freedom stuff is kind of cool. What do you want? I don't know. I'm going to go get it now. 5 hours, people say, and you can compare this. You have 5 hours that are yours. Once you retire, I have about 15, right? I still kind of sleep. I still eat, clean, work out, that kind of stuff. And mentally, I think right now you're thinking 5 hours compared to 15. 15 sounds like more. 15 sounds like time you have to fill. But here's what I didn't believe. I didn't believe how tired I was in those 5 hours, where turning on a video game or turning on a TV show, or what else do we do to fill our time when we're exhausted? Sleep. Yes, if all you had was the energy to grab a remote, grab a keyboard, sleep on the couch, I wouldn't retire either. But when you have the energy to think, it's been 2 years, and if you take out the trip to Vegas in February this year and the trip to Vegas coming up next year for the one rental at a time event, I haven't been exhausted once. I've been wiped out on a hike with my daughter who tried to kill me because she's prepping for her next Mount Rainier summit, but that's not tired. Most people sleep somewhere between 6 and 8 hours. I do too. Often not at the same time. I might sleep after this video. I might sleep tonight. I might game until Sunday because Path of Exile 2 came out today. Don't fall down that rabbit hole during growth mode. Don't compare retirement to what it takes to become retired. You shouldn't even know which games are coming out. I hope this video at least makes you think that as you get some time off towards the end of the year here, if you're watching this in Futureland, you're going to have these days in the future too. You get the long weekend, you get that week between Christmas and New Year's where almost no work gets done and people aren't sure what to do. You can make every day that way. And you can go and find out all those things that right now you know but you don't believe. This was a nice short live stream on my phone where I don't see all of the chat. If you want your questions answered during a live stream every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do a live stream that lasts as long as the questions do. Have a week full of amazing.